Next one is data collection. How do we collect data? Now, it's often better to display data in a table. Classes are the groups that the data is organized in, and class boundaries are the boundaries of that data. So we can see here, there are many ways to represent continuous data in a table. So this shows the height, and if you look at this, I'll do here, the difference between 120 and 130 is 10. So that is counted as a class width. Okay, so for the class boundaries, as you can see here, 120, 130, 140, etc. And the final thing that we do is when we do the midpoints, midpoints is exactly what it says. It's halfway between the two boundaries. So what's halfway between 120 and 130? It's 125. Okay, the table shows the number of people on 12 different buses, and the discrete data is normally grouped in the following way. And it's discrete because you're talking about a body, a person. You can't really do half a person. That would be a bit weird. Even if they're short, they're still counted as a whole person. Okay, so from here we can see that there are 7 buses with 7 to 9 people on them. But we have no way telling exactly how many people there were on each bus because it hasn't been marked down. So we will do this in class widths, which are between 4 and 6. So these class widths, they're 3. So it's 4, 5, 6, 3. That is a really badly drawn 3, so I'll draw that there. Now we're moving on quite quickly because we're talking about tallying and collecting the data in grouping of data. So in some investigations, you will collect an awful lot of information. So the thing is, how do you make use of that raw data? Because if I just displayed that data to you, it'd be absolutely horrible. So in this, you were asked to carry out a survey to find out the number of pets owned by pupils in your school. And you asked 50 people, so that's important. Quite a lot of people, and you recorded the results like this, and there's all the different numbers. So you now have the information you need. How do you display it? If you displayed it like this, people will go, ugh, probably the exact same way that you just did. So the easiest way to do that is in a tally chart, and you probably have already seen people doing this, mainly prisoners on a wall in movies, where they'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you see this usually on a prison wall or something like this, counting off the days. This is a tally. So, as you can see, a straight line is a 1, that's 2, that's 3, that's 4, and you close it up by 5 by turning it into a gate. And it just means that you can look at it and quickly see what number it is. So, when we go back to the number of pets, we basically make a graph, as you can see here. The number of pets is written there, and we did everything from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's the number of them. Then we do the tally. How many zeros did we have? 1, 2, 3. How many ones did we have? And we did it, and it came up to 8. So you do the tally chart as you tick it off, and then you write in the frequency. Now, remember that the total frequency should always be the same. So when we add all this up, it should still come to 50 because we asked 50 people. So, now because it was discrete data, I also want to show it in a nice chart. A bar chart is a good one to show it in because a bar chart is used for discrete data, which is the reason why, if you look here, there's a gap. Because it's clear numbers. This many people had 0 pets, which was 3. If you go up to here, you can see that 8 people had 1 pet, etc. Okay? And that is a really nice way to see the information. It is very clear, it is quick to understand, and it looks good. So, I would like you to try this. Now you can do it by drawing a graph out on your piece of paper or whiteboard and just going through them. Now the way I would go through it is I would go up here and I'd go, okay, 3, cross that off, mark that down here, so that's a 1. Now it's up to you how you do it. You could go, I've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, etc. and just count as you go along for the 3s and then mark it down. Or you could just go in a line from the start to finish, making sure that you write the tallies down. It is completely fine, but I like to put a line through it because when the line's through it, I know I haven't missed a number. So just pause now and try and fill your own graph tally chart up. Okay, welcome back. Hopefully you found that useful and that it still added up to 50 when you'd finished. Okay, so let's do something that we might be asked to do. So the NHS want you to collect data and statistics in an upcoming health report on the effects of exercise on the heart. The NHS are interested in the different types of sports and exercise that we do to keep our hearts healthy. So, stop, have a think, how would you collect this data? What I would do is literally, I would go around and I would ask what type of sports people play and do a tally chart of it. And I'd like to show that in a bar chart. So dancing was 5, swimming 8, skipping 3, and other is 1. Now, how would we actually show this? We can either show this on a bar chart, which we've talked about before, or a pictogram. This is how we do it in a bar chart. And you can see from looking at the numbers there, which I'd like you to write down, and I would like you to try and do the bar chart for yourself. Okay, this is mine. So from this we can ask a number of questions. How many people did dancing? You go up here and look across, you'll see that it's 5. How many people did another sport? You can have a look. And when you were doing bar charts, the main criteria for success. Now start getting into almost a mantra of doing this. First of all, charts must have an XY axis. What that means is they must have an axis along here, which is the horizontal, and an axis up here, which is the vertical. Both axes must be labelled. So you can see you've got football, dancing, swimming, etc. And up here, I'd probably put people. Okay, the chart must have a title. Otherwise, nobody will know what the chart is for. And also, the units across the x-axis must be equal, so this must be all equal spacing. And the y-axis, which is the vertical, must also have equal spacings. Now this does not have to match this one, but it has to be accurate. The whole vertical axis has to be the same. Here's another way to show the exact same bits of information. This time what I've done is I've put people along here, and I've put the different sports here. It's the exact same information, but it looks slightly different. And again, successful criteria. Have I got an X and Y axis? Yes. Are they both labelled? Yes. Does the chart have a title? Yes. And are the units equal? Yes, they are. So, when drawing a bar chart, remember, the chart must have a title. You must use equal intervals on the axis. Now that just means that the x-axis, which is the horizontal, has to have the same spacing. And the y-axis, which is vertical, also has to have the same spacing, but it does not have to equal the x-axis. You have to label both of them, and you have to leave a gap between each bar, because a bar chart has a gap between the bars to show that it's discrete data. So does anyone know what type of chart this is? Might give it away from how it looks, but just have a quick think. Okay, this is a pictogram, and instead of numbers or tally charts, these are shown by different pictures. Now this key is important, just up here, so that's your key, because you have to know what each fruit is worth. And it says up there, a piece of fruit represents 2 people. So, how many people prefer bananas? Struggle to say that word. And you can see the answer is 8. Look at apples, oranges and grapes. So apples was 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 and a half one, so 11, etc. Now even the success criteria for a pictogram is the pictures need a title. And half a picture always represents half the amount. Depending on what they use, you can do a quarter of the picture, which would mean a quarter of the amount. So what I'd like you to do now is Sean has 20 CDs that are his favourites. I've labelled them all there. Now what I would like you to do is design and complete a frequency table to show this, and if you have time, turn it into a bar chart as well. Hopefully that has helped, and just ask yourself, are you red, amber or green?